In the small town of Amucha in eastern Nigeria, a young girl named Olivia grew up amidst chaos and conflict. Her parents, Ejiro and Moma, were always at loggerheads, their constant bickering and fights casting a dark shadow over Olivia's childhood. Ejiro had once been an ambitious man, but after losing his job and being duped out of the little he had gathered to start a business, he turned to alcohol and became disillusioned. Moma, on the other hand, was a stern woman, embittered by unmet dreams and unfulfilled promises. Their marriage, once full of hope, had deteriorated into a series of bitter arguments and resentments. Olivia's home was a battleground. The walls echoed with the sounds of her parents' arguments, and peace was a rare visitor. She often hid in her small room, clutching her doll, wishing for an escape from the turmoil. The constant conflict left Olivia feeling vulnerable and insecure, yet it also taught her to be resilient. Witnessing her parents' constant disputes, Olivia learned early on that appearances could be deceiving. To the outside world, her family seemed ordinary, but behind closed doors it was a different story. She became adept at pretending everything was fine, putting on a brave face for the neighbors and at school. This duality became a cornerstone of her personality, allowing her to navigate the complexities of her tumultuous home life. Olivia began to save money secretly, doing odd jobs for neighbors. She knew that one day, she would need to escape the life she was born into. Her keen observation skills helped her understand people's motivations and weaknesses, skills she would later use to her advantage. She also sought solace in books, escaping into worlds where characters overcame adversity, fueling her own dreams of a better future. Olivia learned to lie and manipulate to survive. She would tell teachers that her mother had fallen or that her father was working late, hiding the ugly truth. She realized that people were quick to believe a convincing lie if it fit their expectations. This skill of deception became second nature to her, a tool she wielded with increasing finesse as she grew older. In this abusive environment, Olivia learned to be rude, aggressive, and cruel. She often lashed out at other children, mimicking the behavior she witnessed at home. Her sharp tongue and quick temper kept her peers at a distance, further isolating her but also making her tougher. No one in the neighborhood dared to cross Olivia. She had become notorious for her fierce temper and readiness to bring anyone down who opposed her. At the age of 14, Olivia's simmering aggression reached a boiling point. One night, during yet another of her parents' violent arguments, she saw her father strike her mother with a force that sent Moma crashing into a table. Something snapped inside Olivia. Fueled by years of pent-up anger and frustration, she attacked her father, hitting him with a chair. The shock of the attack stunned both her parents. Ejiro, caught off guard, backed down for the first time. Moma, too, was astonished by her daughter's sudden and fierce defiance. On an especially tense evening, another argument ensued between her parents. Ejiro, in a drunken rage, hit Moma so hard that she fell to the floor, crying out in pain. Olivia's anger erupted. She rose and struck her father back with all her might. Ejiro stumbled and then slumped to the ground, unconscious. For a horrifying moment, Olivia thought she had killed him. Moma's screams for help echoed through the house, and fear gripped Olivia. Panicking, Olivia grabbed a few of her belongings and fled the house. The realization that she could no longer stay in Amucha, where the shadows of her past would always haunt her, dawned on her. She headed for the city, her heart pounding with fear and determination, venturing into the unknown with nothing but her wits and the lessons she had learned from her turbulent upbringing. As Olivia made her way to the city, the cracks in her family life had become a distant memory, but the lessons remained. She had learned to disguise her true feelings and intentions, skills that would serve her well in her future endeavors. The brokenness of her childhood forged a cunning and determined young woman, ready to take on the world and hide her darkest secrets behind a veil of benevolence. Olivia arrived in the bustling city with a mix of trepidation and excitement. The urban landscape was a stark contrast to the quiet simplicity of Amucha. Tall buildings loomed overhead, and the streets teemed with people from all walks of life. Olivia felt a sense of freedom and anonymity in the city, a feeling she had never experienced before. With nowhere else to go, Olivia sought shelter in a run-down boarding house on the outskirts of the city. The place was far from luxurious, but it was cheap, and it offered her a place to lay her head and plan her next move. She kept to herself, wary of the other residents, many of whom seemed to be running from their own troubled pasts. Olivia's success in the city caught the eye of a wealthy businessman named Okeke. Okeke was known for his shady dealings, recruiting young girls for runs and criminal activities. He had a network of women he called his sisterhood, who carried out his dirty work, from blackmail to theft. One day, while Olivia was hustling across the street, Okeke noticed her bravery and cunning. He saw in her a potential asset to his sisterhood and approached her with an offer. He praised her intelligence and street smarts, offering her a place in his team of women who did his bidding. At first, Olivia was taken aback by the offer. She had worked hard to build a legitimate career and was wary of getting involved in criminal activities. But Okeke was persuasive, appealing to her ambition and desire for power. He promised her wealth and influence, things she had always craved but had never been able to attain through honest means. After much deliberation, Olivia made a fateful decision. She accepted Okeke's offer, seeing it as an opportunity to further her own agenda. She joined his sisterhood, using her intelligence and cunning to rise through the ranks and earn Okeke's trust. As part of Okeke's sisterhood, Olivia was involved in various criminal activities, from blackmail to theft. She became adept at using her charm and wit to manipulate others, often using her position as a successful businesswoman to gain access to valuable information and resources. Despite her success in the criminal underworld, Olivia struggled to maintain her facade of benevolence. She felt a pang of guilt for the things she had done, but she quickly pushed those feelings aside, telling herself that it was all part of the game. As Olivia rose in power and influence, she began to see the darker side of her new life. She witnessed the suffering and destruction caused by her actions, and she knew that she had crossed a line from which there was no turning back. As Olivia's involvement in Okeke's criminal empire deepened, she found herself torn between her desire for power and the guilt of her actions. She had traded her integrity for wealth and influence, but at what cost? As she looked back on her journey from Omucha to the city, she wondered if she had lost more than she had gained, if the price of power was too high a price to pay. But deep down, she knew that she was in too deep, that there was no turning back from the path she had chosen. Olivia's role in trafficking began innocently enough, with her recruiting young girls under the guise of offering them better opportunities in the city. However, as she became more deeply involved in Okeke's network, she realized the true nature of her actions. She would accompany the girls on their journeys, ensuring they reached their destinations and were handed over to the right people. The money she earned from these deals was substantial, but it came at a high cost to her conscience. Olivia's skill at blackmailing was unmatched. She would use her charm and wit to gain the trust of powerful politicians and other influential figures, often seducing them to get compromising material. Once she had the evidence she needed, she would use it to extort money or favors from her targets. The thrill of the game was addictive, but Olivia knew that one wrong move could lead to her downfall. As Olivia's wealth grew, she needed a way to launder her money without attracting attention. She would set up front businesses such as restaurants or boutiques, and use them to funnel money through legitimate channels. She would also invest in real estate, buying properties in her name or through shell companies to further conceal the source of her wealth. This allowed her to live a life of luxury while keeping her criminal activities hidden from prying eyes. Despite her success, Olivia was plagued by guilt and remorse. She knew that her actions had caused immeasurable harm to countless individuals, and she struggled to reconcile her newfound wealth with the suffering she had caused. She tried to numb her conscience with alcohol and drugs, but the guilt only grew stronger with each passing day. It was during a particularly harrowing trafficking deal that Olivia reached her breaking point. She witnessed firsthand the brutal treatment of the girls she had recruited, and she knew that she could no longer continue down this path. She made a decision to break away from Okeke's network and seek redemption for her actions, no matter the cost. Olivia'S decision to break away from Okeke's criminal empire marked a turning point in her life. She knew that severing ties with Okeke would not be easy, but she was determined to make amends for her past actions. Olivia arranged a meeting with Okeke, intending to tell him that she was leaving his organization. She knew that this would not sit well with him, but she was prepared to face whatever consequences came her way. When she met with Okeke, she was surprised to find that he was not angry, but rather amused by her decision. Instead of lashing out at Olivia for betraying him, Okeke offered her a deal. He knew that Olivia was a valuable asset to his organization and that her departure would be a significant blow. He offered her a chance to continue working for him, promising her even greater wealth and power if she stayed. However, Olivia had made up her mind. She refused Okeke's offer, knowing that she could not continue down a path of crime and corruption. Okeke, furious at Olivia's betrayal, attempted to stop her from leaving his organization. He made plans to eliminate her, but Olivia's smartness and cunning helped her evade his schemes. Realizing that she needed to take drastic action to ensure her safety, Olivia decided to expose Okeke's criminal activities to the police. She gathered evidence of his crimes and released it to the authorities, leading to Okeke's arrest for all the crimes he had committed. After Okeke's arrest, Olivia's life was in grave danger. His associates, fearing that she might expose them next, called for a meeting to eliminate her. However, Olivia, ever resourceful and cunning, managed to evade their plans. She knew that she had to disappear completely from their radar to ensure her safety. With the threat of Okeke's associates looming over her, Olivia made the difficult decision to leave Nigeria for good. She knew that staying in the country would mean risking her life, so she packed a few belongings and fled to Kenya, a country far away from the reach of Okeke's influence. In Kenya, Olivia began a new chapter of her life. She changed her identity and settled down in a small, peaceful town, where she hoped to find refuge from her troubled past. She found work at a local charity organization, using her skills and experience to help those in need. In Kenya, Olivia found the peace and redemption she had been searching for. She dedicated herself to helping others, using her knowledge of business and finance to make a positive impact on her new community. She knew that she could never erase the mistakes of her past, but she was determined to live a life of meaning and purpose, far away from the shadows of her criminal past. Olivia's journey from a troubled young girl in Nigeria to a redeemed woman in Kenya was a testament to her determination and perseverance. She had faced adversity and danger at every turn, but she had never lost hope. In the end, Olivia found redemption not in running from her past, but in facing it head-on and using her experiences to make a difference in the lives of others.
Thank you for watching. For more African folktales, be sure to subscribe to our channel.